These large individuals, these large organizations seemingly moving together on a very, very consistent basis. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day today. We are talking about R3 and DTCC. If you are not aware, DTCC is a depository trust clearing company and essentially deals in all of the derivatives trading across the board. We're talking like quadrillions of dollars in volume as far as trading is concerned. But first and foremost, I saw this, which is very interesting. So this is the Fed, the Federal Reserve, approving rules that are banning its officials from trading stocks, bonds, and just announced cryptocurrencies as well. Number one, I think that that's a move that should inherently have been there for years, and not just the Fed, but I think any real power position within the government where you're dealing with lobbyists and all sorts of different things that you may or may not be incentivized to be dealing in. I think that it should be banned. I do not think that any of our governmental officials that are at a certain level and that are dealing with certain organizations and can potentially be swayed one way or another based on their vote or their decision should not be able to participate in digital asset trading. That is just my opinion. I think that this actually even extrapolates out into their immediate family members. So we can speculate as much as we want, or touch base on all of our thoughts on that. But this is what was more interesting to me, is that this is a more recent document coming out from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Have not seen anybody present this yet, and maybe I just missed it. We've got a lot of good diggers in this community. But this is the Fed's notes from February 3rd, 2022. This is literally talking about using distributed ledger technology for payments directories. And they go into kind of the legacy model here. So figure 1 is a stylized process flow for payments. Figure 2, stylized process flow for queries and from a business-to-business e-voice registry standpoint. And now it's talking about traditional versus distributed ledger, which we can see right here. Now this distributed ledger diagram is modified from CPMI. I think that's the Committee on Payments Infrastructures from the Bank for International Settlements from 2017. Looked into it, certainly a lot about DLT within that as well. Figure 4 is a stylized process flow for a payment alias non-fungible token on a blockchain. So we literally have the Federal Reserve not only talking about adding in DLT capabilities into payments directories, but we talk about integrating NFTs as well, which is certainly a more or a newer topic within the digital asset space. Now, granted, NFTs have really been around since like 2015, 2016, but really kind of taking the market share as far as what speculation has been dealing with for the past year or so. But yeah, they're talking directly about NFTs. We can see adding a payment alias to a blockchain. We can see the node. Now, so that you're all aware, a node is essentially just a computer that is participating within a blockchain network to aid in consensus or potentially for other different reasons, depending on the network. Number 1, the node issues a smart contract to mint an NFT with a new payment alias. You can see the smart contract. Now, this smart contract inherently actually creates an NFT with the payment alias information. And then that moves on to step 3, which is the NFT being added to a blockchain and tied to a specific account. And this can extrapolate out into probably multiple different use cases here. But the main finding is, the Fed essentially banning their officials from dealing in trading cryptocurrencies. And now we see, earlier this month, the Federal Reserve literally talking about integrating distributed ledger technology into payments directories. Now, this kind of led me into looking back into like that 2018 framework where Federal Reserve actions to support interbank settlements. They put out a call for comments, and Ripple certainly provided comments within that as well. Now you can go through here. They certainly do, and I don't know if I'll be able to find this here. Yeah, here we go. This is from the Fed asking, are auxiliary services such as a payment directory or fraud prevention services needed for this service? And Ripple responding, a shared aliasing service to simplify addressing of payments and masking of account information via the use of new payment IDs, emails, or mobile phone numbers could make the service easier to utilize. That service they're talking about is certainly integrating DLT into some sort of a faster payment scheme. And we do know, obviously, that Ripple is sitting on the faster payments board. Pat Thalen, across the board, we've seen relationship upon relationship. That is not to say that XRP will be utilized, but I think that Ripple has a seat at the table, and XRP is an asset that can be utilized, hopefully, given clear regulatory frameworks that could potentially succeed within some sort of framework that is mass adopted, enterprise grade, so to say. In most cases, a real-time payment capability linked to existing directories would enhance the associated retail, small and medium enterprise, and corporate use cases and drive incremental adoption. Talking about aliasing within DLT, and we see the same thing here, obviously. Payment aliases, et cetera, tied into a system. So just interesting to me. Not to say definitively that Ripple is going to be used or RippleNet is going to be used or the XRP or anything else. Just interesting. This is extremely interesting. Binance executive to lead crypto expert centered by the Russian Bank Association. Now founded in 1990, this Russian Bank Association includes over 300 banks and financial institutions in Russia, which covers nearly 90% of the country's banking infrastructure. And Binance literally announced yesterday its entry into that association of banks in Russia, aiming to facilitate dialogue with local authorities, lawmakers, and experts within the crypto industry. So I saw another... Oh, I lost it, I think. Okay, yeah. Sorry. U.S. sanctions on Russia's banks. Russian banks' West's most potent economic threat. Obviously, there's tension in Ukraine going on right now. But, man, the timing of all of these announcements is just really crazy to me. So banking sanctions are the most impactful measure the U.S. can carry out in the short term, okay? Now, it talks about proposed sanction against Russian banks would ban them from making any transactions in the United States dollar, our fiat currency, essentially freezing any dollar-denominated assets or liabilities held by the banks at home and abroad. And we do know that the Central Bank of Russia certainly trialed XRP from that document that I had presented probably a month and a half ago from the Atlantis Press. From 2021. Not only XRP, but RippleNet. Now, the document, I think, was from 2021, but I believe the initial trials occurred in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So just gigantic. I mean, we consistently see kind of the rhetoric here. This is more timing, and this I found very interesting as well. This is from DTCC, applauding the Security and Exchange Commission's proposal to accelerate the settlement to T+1. Well, no shit, because this all moves to T+1. We see the same time frames across the board. T+1 by that 2024-ish time frame. T+0 in the latter part of the decade, where it applies in certain situations where it may aid in utility and it can be utilized. I think the Germany's stock exchange is one example of this. Okay, but very pleased to hear that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission unanimously voted to shorten the settlement cycle for securities to T+1 by March 31st, 2024. Now, you can look into settlement cycles, T+2, T+1, T+0. It's just a time frame. Obviously, when you get to T+0, it's basically instantaneous settlement. There's probably a little bit of layers on the front and back end as well still, but mostly instantaneous settlement when you get to T+0. It's a phased approach. They're tackling payments. They're moving everything to T+1. If they're making it faster and more efficient by 2024, where do you think they're going to be in 2027 or 2028 when we see the crypto initiatives across the board innovating faster, at scale, and cheaper? Now, these mechanisms, these networks are going to be vetted by these legacy institutions, which is why I would hedge my bets, not financial advice, into organizations that have been integrating into these legacy behemoth financial institutions such as DTCC, Bank for International Settlements, IMF. We can go on and on, Bank of England, go on and on. But this is what I found interesting. Now, this is February 15th. And what I saw here, and it's just timing. And, you can take this with a grain of salt as much as you want to, but these organizations move in packs. This is a central organization, a centralized legacy organization, moving in a pack with, a DLT initiative, which we know as R3. I will show you that in a second. In support of this T+1 initiative that is in support of by the SEC by 2024, we have partnered with SIFMA, Investment Company Institute, and hundreds of market participants from a broad cross-section of the industry to issue an industry roadmap that details plans to move to T+1 by the first half of 2024. What did R3 put out literally 2 days prior to this? We are excited to announce that our R3's membership into this we are excited to announce R3's membership into the SIFMA community. Same organization, the voice of the U.S. securities industry. We look forward to participating in the SIFMA forums, sharing best practices, networking, plus learning from peers across the industry. Now, R3's Twitter is like a little gold mine that most people just aren't giving a shit about, which is very interesting to me because to me R3 is right on that same level as things like Hyperledger and things like that. These kind of enterprise grade networks or interoperability mechanisms. But you can kind of scroll up and run the gambit. Union Bank is obviously a giant, and they have the fixed traded community. And it goes across the board. They've got a bunch of DTCC stuff here over the past week even as well. And it's just the timing for me is very interesting. Digital Asset Lifecycle Management Showcase Series. So this is, the day after DTCC's announcement. But, okay. James Fillion, a monster as far as, from the legal aspect of research in this space, along with Jeremy, I have to get, and John, all three of those guys have just done such invaluable work for the community. This under seal document, I believe there was actually 2 under seal documents that just came out today. Judge Sarah Netburn kind of allowing those to be unsealed. I am not going to delve deep into this. I'm sure that you'll get that enough tonight. I am waiting to see what our 3 legal community members within the XRP community are willing to discuss based on this, because I can make as many assumptions as I want to. I'm more so curious as far as what people that may have some experience, what they're looking at these as from the regulatory lens, or the legal lens, I guess I should say. And yeah, shout out to James again. The dude is just consistently putting out great information. I don't even know if I want to share this. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the Deputy Prime Minister. I think this is in Canada, right? Essentially, they are freezing. I think the government is choosing to freeze certain accounts, certain bank accounts, certain digital asset accounts as well. I'm assuming this is dealing in centralized exchanges. You can do more research on that. This just, alludes me to continue saying, I don't like having everything cold storage, because I believe in longevity and sustainability within this space, and I want to, hopefully hold some of those assets removed from any online mechanisms as much as I possibly can. And you could even deal in like a paper wallet or whatever you want to deal in, or even a ledger, or there's a ton of them. But I'm not against, having a hot wallet as well for trading and stuff like that. Just always be aware when you're dealing with any sort of a mechanism that is dealing in any sort of centrality from an exchange standpoint. And now we're seeing it doesn't even matter if it's from an exchange standpoint, but from a governmental standpoint, your digital assets, not only your digital assets, but your fiat, they can lock all of your accounts. And certainly they're going to have, in my opinion, the power to probably do this with crypto and digital assets as well when you're dealing with these exchanges, because especially when we see the regiment and the strict KYC AML across the board in all of these exchanges when regulatory clarity comes out, this is just one more thing that is going to be coming down the pike. But yeah, this video is crazy. I'll share the link with this to you guys. I don't want to play it on YouTube for some obvious reasons, but it's just nuts. Regardless of your political views, I think that we can all agree upon custodying our own assets, and I think that that's really, really important. So, last but not least, the Hedera Hashgraph community, HBAR community, looking for a social media manager to run Hedera's social accounts and own both organic and paid social strategy. If anybody's interested, you can slide into Andrew's direct messages before the official job requisition is posted, and here's a thread of what they're looking for. So I certainly would love to participate in something like this. I reached out to Andrew, but sometimes there's synergy, sometimes there's not. I feel like I've participated in the Hedera Hashgraph community for a while, but anybody that wants to participate, that's the beauty of this space, is that there's always going to be the opportunity for all of us to participate. So I certainly recommend, if you have a background in anything, or even if you're just interested in the space. Now, don't flood this dude if you're not serious, obviously. But yeah, if you're interested, certainly give it a shot. I mean, this space is about empowerment for everybody. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, pay attention to what these organizations, institutions are doing and not saying. Pay attention to timing as well. They try to put things out in batches. They're not batches that deal directly with them necessarily, but they're batches in like this 1 day period where we're seeing a lot of the same news from a lot of different industry players. And for me, that's always interesting, certainly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you and have a Have a great weekend. Later.